Hello.
Hi everyone. Let's talk about Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. And we're not going to hold the book up because when we hold it up, we turn gray.
Okay.
So, we're going to talk about it. If you haven't read this book, don't watch this video because we're going to talk about the things that happen within. Okay, so we gave this book, both of us, 5 stars.
So good.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, okay, and see, I wanted to say this because in The Fault in Our Stars, I kept writing in the book. We annotated it. I kept writing, who talks like this? What teenager talks like this?
Yeah.
Okay, but I've moved past that because I listened to someone talk about it. I want to say Ariel Bissett. And,
She talks about how, like, they're adults, almost, and he doesn't dumb it down, and for teenagers, and I really love that part. But I did feel like he went over a little, it was, like, too clever and too wordy for anyone.
I was going to say too philosophical.
Okay.
But, I agree, but
I didn't feel that way in this book.
I didn't either. And the thing that I want to keep in mind and I have to remember, this is his book. This is his rendition of what he wants it to be.
And he's a smart, clever, witty dude.
He really is. Seeing him in person, I was like, him and Hank both are very, very witty.
And you can tell that in their videos as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this book, I did not ever feel like they were being too
smart, like
pretentious.
Clever.
Yeah, I never felt that way.
Yeah.
And they were still super witty, super clever teenagers, very smart people, but I just didn't feel like it just felt more natural. Was all.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So speaking on that topic of feeling more natural, his use of technology in this book.
Yeah. Okay. Teenagers use technology all the time.
I use technology all the time.
Adults use technology all the time.
Everyone uses technology.
It's a thing that we use in our daily life, and people, that's how they communicate oftentimes. And Green, very what's the word?
Smartly, subtly,
organically,
that's a good one.
Use technology in this book in
Yeah.
a way that I felt was very realistic. And they had it to look up information about the thing that they wanted to know. Oh, I need to know something. I'm just going to look it up. And that's exactly what people do now. Or I have this sensitive information in my brain that is time sensitive to, everyone around me. How about I just text him real quick and we'll meet up or something.
They even FaceTime in this book.
They do FaceTime.
Yeah. And I think that is very realistic.
It happens. FaceTime happens.
And he didn't throw it in there to like kind of like unnecessarily. It was very organic.
It worked.
It was really well done.
It just felt like real life.
Yeah, it did. So I also really like the fact that, speaking of technology, Aza had made the comment to Davis through text that she was much better through text than she was in real life. That she didn't feel like she was as fun in real life as she was through text, and it was just easier for her to be who she was through text. And I think everyone has felt that way at some point. Just being on the internet and not having to face someone makes it something about that just easier. And I could definitely kind of relate to that before.
Sometimes it bothers me. So it's gotten to a point though where people are too confrontational.
Oh yeah.
Behind their they text and type out things that they would never actually say to a person.
Somebody's face. Right.
And that's when it goes too far.
Yeah, I agree.
That subject was not covered really in the book, but I just wanted to say that.
No, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, let's talk about Daisy for a second.
Yeah.
Did Daisy remind you of Susanna from Daughter of a Smoking Bone a little bit?
I didn't think of that when reading it, but now that you say that, yeah, I can definitely see it.
Okay. She was definitely her own person.
Yeah.
She wasn't exactly Susanna, but I got that feeling from her. She was like a supportive best friend.
Yeah. See, and at first I didn't really care for her.
Oh.
Because at first she was like talking about break hearts, not promises, and she just was kind of like wanting just for the money, and I was just kind of like, eh.
She did do some things that were a little immature, teenager-y things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Later on, like after they got into their fight and things had happened and they were like comforting each other, and I really, really grew to like her, and I could see definitely where she was coming from.
Yeah. I think Daisy, she had to put up with a lot to be with Aza, and I thought it was very mature of her to stick with her friend, even though and that's one thing I really liked. Excuse me for interrupting myself, but
your excuse.
Aza knew what she had.
Yeah.
Aza was going to therapy for it.
Yeah.
Aza was communicating with other people about what she was going through.
Right.
And that's very rare to find in a book about mental illness.
Yeah, I agree.
The books that I have personally read were about people not knowing what the thing was that they had in their brain.
Or they hide it from...
Or, you know, and I really appreciated the fact that she was open about it and people knew, and it was, I think it was and it was done that way, I think, in an effort to normalize mental illness.
Right.
And I think that's a direction in which our country is going.
Yeah.
And I think it's beautiful, and we're, like, trying to be more compassionate to others and understand what mental illness is and how it affects other people.
Yeah.
And I thought, I really loved that part. Daisy's fan fiction was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just liked that she used it as an outlet for dealing with Aza.
Right.
And that she was popular on the internet.
Yeah.
And the fact that Aza read it at the end, and they came together through it. I like the fact that she she wanted to give Ayala like a good death. She was thinking about killing her off, and also like she owned the fact that Ayala was Aza, and that she was using that to get out her frustration for Aza. And I was surprised when Aza was like, "You don't know what's going on with me."
I was kind of surprised by that too, and I will say that like in that argument and in that moment, I kind of like did not like Aza. And I understand, because like she recognizes that she's stuck in her head all the time, and like it's not that Daisy doesn't know that. Daisy obviously knows. And then Aza kind of throws that in her face during the argument, and I thought like, but at the same time I can understand that Aza, you know, was going through this, and she was trying to kind of like, she was hurt, and she was trying to explain like, because I don't know how in-depth she ever got with Daisy about how she felt mentally in her head. I know that they've been friends for a long time. I know that Daisy knew about it.
Up to that point.
Right. And I don't know exactly how deep she had ever got with her about how she really felt.
Well, there was that moment in the tunnel where
after the
she
argument,
was like, where she talked about how she felt, and she was like, "Is it really that bad?" And she was like, "Yeah, sometimes."
Yes. And I think that argument was obviously like very well needed for their friendship. And I also felt like that's a realistic thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Friends can argue or, you know, whatever, but I appreciate the fact that they moved past that, because I was afraid that it was just going to break them up.
Right.
And it didn't, and I'm really glad that
and their relationship was stronger afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's something that that needs to happen. People need to be confront each other and say, "I'm having this problem with you."
Yeah.
And that's how you work things out.
Yeah.
And you don't like carry stuff with you all the time. And that's what breaks you
up.
Up.
That's what eats you up and breaks you up.
Is there anything about me that you need to get off your chest? You're trying to think of something clever.
I was going to say how beautiful you are, but no, I love hanging out with you. And that's the thing is,
I want us all...
I feel like we're both very understanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do too. And if there's anything that, you know, you ever need to talk to me about, talk to me about it.
I know, and I would like you to do the same.
Yes.
That's why we're friends.
We haven't had any big fights.
We haven't.
But like, if we're gonna be friends forever, I feel like it's
gonna happen at some point.
Right.
But it's not. It's actively working through it that keeps you together.
Yeah. Dope.
So moving on from Daisy.
Speaking of it getting really bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was shocked and sad when she drank hand sanitizer.
Oh my gosh, and just like her mom. But and here's the thing is
she did it before that.
Yeah,
the hospital visit.
Yeah, she did.
And I was like, no. That made me so sad.
And that's the thing, is like when you were in her head and she was telling herself like, I'm disgusting but I can't stop, like I know this is gross but I can't stop, and she was hitting like her rock bottom obviously at the hospital. That was when I got really teary-eyed about it.
Me too.
Because I just felt so bad.
Yeah.
And and she was trying to fight it so hard, but it was just like consuming her until she gave in. And Yeah, that was really heartbreaking.
Yeah. I was so happy when the mom, they were like, here, Mom, you take the medicine and make sure she takes it.
Yeah.
And she, at that point, after hitting rock bottom, she was like, I need this. And so, and that's what helped her get better, is she was taking her medicine.
And see, that's the thing that I like, too, is in this book, once she started taking her medicine, it wasn't like an overnight change.
Yeah.
It was like, they talked about how she still had her thought spiral. She still had, you know, these uncontrollable thoughts with her OCD, to open her callus even while she was taking her medicine. Yeah. And I thought that was a really nice portrayal and so realistic. And I think that's what, like, is really going to speak to a lot of people, even if you don't suffer from mental illness. It really spoke to me about, you know, having more compassion and trying to understand what people go through, because it felt so realistic.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
And by the end, she was able to listen to her friend and have a conversation and be interested in the other person, and not just be in her head, even though it was hard still. Yeah. But she was able to control it with help.
I was going to say, I loved that character development.
Yeah, me too.
It went through the whole thing, and I loved it. And one thing, I wrote this down. Did you cry when her mom sang her that lullaby? We're here because we're here.
Yeah.
Because John Green had everyone sing that.
Yeah.
At the thing,
at
the tour in Nashville, and he explained the importance of it, and
to him.
A very dear friend to him had told him that as well, that soldiers used to sing it while they were in war, because we're here because we're here because we're here because we're here.
Like, there's no reason that we're here. Yeah. We're just here because we're here.
And he said that helped him enormously.
No. Then his friend changed the meaning of it for him.
Oh, yes.
Saying that we're here because we want to be here, because we're friends. We're all here together.
Yeah.
We're in it together.
Yeah, and it was, unfortunately, she had passed away at the beginning of this year, and so I'm going to stop crying. He had the whole auditorium, like, we had downstairs and a balcony, and just everybody singing it, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. And so he had incorporated that into this book, and when I read that, I flashed back to, like, us standing there and singing it, and it was just, like, really emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But it was really good, and I love that.
Yeah. There was a lot of things in this book that it would remind me of a Vlogbrothers video.
Yeah.
Like the Tuatara.
Oh my gosh, the Tuatara. Should we show the...
Oh, yeah, sure. I got it right here. I mean, I remember, like, their first tour video, they were like, oh, there's a surprise on the cover. And I was like, oh, it's a turtle.
Yeah.
But no, it was a Tuatara. Which is featured in this book heavily, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Also, well, never mind. They did Hank did like a presentation on animals and how to classify them, and he talked about the
That
Tuatara.
wasn't Hank, that was Professor Frogman.
Oh, excuse me.
He was.
Things is. Well, let me help you out with that. Next slide, please. Phylogeny, also called
and how the Tuatara is not a lizard, but in a class of its own.
Yeah.
Ow. Oh, also, the pizza thing. When Asa is described as mustard, because you just can't have too much of her.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Daisy's like, you're not like mustard, you're like pizza, which is the highest compliment I could pay anyone. And I just watched their pizza mess video when I read that, and I just, at the same time, laughed out loud, and tears sprang from my eyes. He is such a good writer.
He really is, and I'm telling you, seeing him in person was really amazing.
It was so cool.
It was a lot of fun. Him and Hank is just hilarious.
They're awesome
Oh my
together.
gosh, they're great. So the ending.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate how the end was. You don't, hardly anyone stays with their high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
For one. I thought they were great together, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And that was realistic.
Her and Davis.
Her and Davis.
And I thought it was actually mature of her to realize that after she had touched briefly on it, that they realized they were just better as friends, and
And she talked about how, you know, you always remember the first love.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cried when...
You got very adamant there for a second.
Hold on just a second. You remember your first love because they show you, prove to you that you can love and be loved, and that nothing in this world is deserved except for love. That love is both how you become a person and why. Oh, and I wanted to say also about the ending, the fact that
Yeah.
he left it on a note where kids need to know that it gets better.
Yeah.
And that you going in high school is very different from the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
Your school, once you get out of school,
You do anything.
it's
You can be anyone.
completely different. And
Yeah.
you can just look back and go, high school was really hard a lot of times, or it was awesome or whatever, but like whatever it was, it's not anymore.
Yeah, you can move past it, and it's not gonna last forever.
And things get better, and it'll be okay.
Okay.
All right, hold on. I seriously, I'm gonna cry.
I really was gonna cry when I was talking about we're here, because I was just like, ugh. And then like when we were singing it, you just looked over at me and gave me this look, and I was just like, stop looking at me! Don't cry right now. Okay. Obviously, we are emotional messes because of this book, and you should be too.
If you're not, you're a monster. All right.
Okay.
I'm happy I read this book.
Me
it was
too.
beautiful. I'll read it again someday.
If you would like to discuss it with us, obviously, please comment below. We would
Yeah.
love to. It was just
Good.
amazing.
So good. Thank you for watching. When you play the game of Tomes,
You read or you die.
come be our friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Bye.
You're dirty. You are dirty. Hey, you're dirty too.
Good grief.
Good luck editing this. Stop. I'm Mama's right here. Why? Shh. Why are you looking at Christeena and saying Mama?
Your mama's right there.
She's not your mama.
Ooh, that face. I love you.
Your naked body is beautiful.